I've just pitched the tent on the rim of the Loch Avon Basin. When I started putting the tent up, there was a great view of the huge cliffs beyond the edge of the basin, but the mist, which has been slowly sinking as I've walked over here, first on Ben Macdui, then Cairngorms, then Ben Vane, and now I'm just about in it here, and certainly any big view has gone. But it's a nice spot, and I'm hoping that the cloud will lift and it'll be a fine dawn. I'll walk round the tent and you can see a bit of the view. If I swing round here, this is the February, just before it tumbles down the cliffs. So that's my water source for camp. You can see again, oh, a tiny edge of cliff. Cairngorms, I think, or maybe the Shelterstone Crag, has just briefly appeared, hidden by the mist. And my pack has just fallen over, which doesn't matter, the ground is dry. And swing round, and here's the tent. Up there, not that you can see it, is Ben Macdui. And then further round the tent, the slopes leading up the main Cairngorms plateau just up there, and round the other way. Mostly you can see mist coming in, but up there eventually is Cairngorms. You can see there's no wind here, though there is a breeze slightly higher up. I could feel it enough to put a warm top on when I reach the plateau, and the mist is drifting on northeast wind. I've got the door pitched so it'd be sheltered from it, but also with the door open I should get a view of the invisible crags. Anyway, I don't think I'm going to see much more this evening, so I think it's time to get settled in, to camp, get some water and get the stove on. Well, I've settled into the tent, nice and snug now. The mist is still down quite low, not quite down to this level, and I hope it'll stay like that because I imagine it'll be quite damp in that mist. The temperature is currently 5 degrees, and I'm just about to have supper. I've had some cup of soup already, but I'm trying this firepot Tuscan stew, which is a mix of beans, kale, various other vegetables and sourdough bread. I haven't tried this one before. I'm curious to see what it's like. I've been keeping the bag in the sleeping bag. It takes 15 minutes to hydrate, which is quite a long time, and I've found that if you just leave the bag outside on the ground, in the open, wherever, by the time the 15 minutes is over, meals are usually not really that hot anymore, certainly not as hot as I like them. Whereas if you put them inside clothing or in the sleeping bag, it helps to insulate them. I mean, the outside of this pouch is really quite warm, so you can see that it is, losing heat all the time. With 400ml of water in to make up the stew, it's now quite heavy, though the packets are quite light and quite flat, easy to pack. This one's 465 calories, it says, which isn't a huge amount for an evening meal. If I was on a multi-day trip, I would certainly want more than that, but as this is a one night only, it'll be perfectly adequate. It should be done in a couple of minutes, and then I can see what it's like. I also like to try meals I haven't had before on short trips, and then if I end up not liking them and don't eat them, well, it doesn't matter because I'll be out again and can get something else the next day. Whereas on a long trip, I wouldn't like to find that one of my meals for a long period of time was something I really didn't like. I don't try them at home though, because I did that many years ago, because that was advice given, and found that, well, I just didn't like, dehydrated or freeze-dried meals at home. I wouldn't normally eat them at home, and I couldn't tell whether I'd like them when I was out camping or not. So I decided, try them on short trips, and then you'll see if you like them outdoors or not. And of course, taking other people's recommendations for food is very unwise. I've tried meals that other people have praised and thought they were practically inedible, and I'm sure the same has happened with meals I've praised. Everyone's tastes are different, so you do need to try meals, not just say, well, so-and-so says this meal is brilliant, therefore it must be good, and then you discover it isn't, for you anyway. The Tuscan stew should be done, so let's see if I can open it and try what it's like. Give it another good stir. Not bad. Quite a strong taste, which is nice. Quite a few of the specialist dried meals I've tried tend to be a bit bland. You have to add something to them to give them much of a taste. But this isn't bad at all. It has got garlic in it and olive oil. Yeah. I think this is going to be okay. Morning. The sky is still overcast, but the clouds have lifted. When I actually woke at dawn, or as it was getting light around 6 o'clock, I was in thick mist and the tent was very damp. It's dried a bit now as the clouds have lifted. Not a particularly cold night. The temperature is down to 2.6. It's up to 8 now, so I'll soon be getting out of the sleeping bag, and I think heading over to Cairngorms. I'll wander over there, have a look down into the Loch Avon Basin, and then wander back here to pick up the camping stuff and head back across the plateau. Hopefully there'll be some sunshine later, though it's not a bad day. But first, I've had a mug of coffee already. I'll have another one before I set off, and I'm going to have some breakfast, which is another fast meal. Posh baked beans, which is one I've had before a few times and really like, and which again is keeping itself warm inside the sleeping bag. again, 15 minutes rehydration after you've added boiling water. Looking out, I can just see the tops of the hills. I can just hear the Fay buoy rushing down not far away, and at some point I'll also do a little filming of the camp from outside. But for now, I'm going to have breakfast and then actually get up. It's so nice. One of the things with camping is having the first coffee and breakfast in bed without having to move at all. Here's my camp on the morning of May the 6th, and I'm going to walk now to the edge of the Loch Avon Basin, where the Fay buoy tumbles down the cliffs. That's the Fay buoy you can hear. And we're looking across to Basin and closer Shelterstone Crag, and above it Cairngorms, and Loch Avon is now coming into view, and I'll go towards the edge. Quite rocky ground here. And here you can see we're looking down the Fay buoy as it starts to speed up its descent. And there's the Loch Avon Basin down below, and Loch Avon itself. This whole area is one of my favourite spots in the Cairngorms. Wild, rugged, with an austere beauty, wonderful rocks, all the crashing water, the big loch itself. Camping down there near the loch is wonderful. Camping up here on the edge looking down at it is wonderful. And it's a bit sunnier now. There's a cold breeze now coming up from below. Now I'm standing on the edge. Let's swing around that way. You can see Cairngorms over there. And then background, there's the Garvushki Moor crashing down to join the waters of the Fay buoy and feed into Loch Avon. Well, I'm going to have a walk from the tent up to the top of the Shelterstone Crag, and then up Cairngorms and back, and then pack up and head across. This is the view from further round as I make my way across the top of the Loch Avon Bowl. Here you can see Helslum Crag and Cairngorms, and then swinging round there's Stag Rocks, and then Loch Avon, and round to Basin, Shelterstone Crag and Cairngorms. This is the view from the top of the Shelterstone Crag. This is looking across the cliffs at the head of the Loch Avon Basin. You can see my tent there. There's a small black dot just to the left of the Fay buoy, which you can see here crashing down the cliffs. And then as I swing round, you've got Hell's Lum, and then round to Cairngorms, and Loch Avon down there, Bunnock Moor in the distance, Basin there, and then towering up just there is Cairngorms. And this is the same view but swinging round with a wider angle lens. There you can see Cairngorms, cliffs in shadow, round over Basin, there's Loch Avon, Bunnock Moor, round Cairngorms, and then back round to the Fay buoy and the tiny dot of my camp. It is a fantastic view. The summit of Cairngorms is fairly flat, so the views are all foreshortened. You don't have to walk far from the summit though to get this view, and this is looking, you can see Bunnock Moor there, and then round over Basin, a distant Benavur, and then Loch Avon and Derry Cairngorms, and then round to Benbecdwy. Back in camp after my wander up Loch Avon. There's a slight breeze here, hence the wind shirt for sitting outside, though when the dew drops and the sun comes out it's actually very warm. And I'm now just having a last cup of coffee before I pack up and head back across the plateau, and it's been a very successful trip. The views are just spectacular here. The Loch Avon Basin is glorious, all the crags around it are glorious, and this is just a wonderful place to be, and I could happily sit here and wander about all afternoon, but I have to be home, so I'll drink my coffee and pack up. The pack, by the way, is the Built to Send X3, designed originally I think as a mountaineering rather than a backpacking pack, though it does the latter very well. It's surprisingly comfortable given that it's lightweight. Minimal features, it's one large bag with a fold over top and buckles, optional side straps and front shock cord. No pockets at all anywhere. Everything goes inside or is strapped on the outside. But full, it's about 60-65 litres, so it will hold plenty of gear. It's almost waterproof, not quite, and it is incredibly durable. I haven't really given it a severe test, but people who have used it for climbing and scrambling and so on have rated it as highly tough, and the makers say it's almost indestructible. It's made in England. They're not cheap, but I reckon they'll probably last someone a lifetime, and it's an excellent pack.